What up, guys? This is the Our Strange Ideas podcast. I'm here with Chris.
Yeah, his boy.
All right, today I wanted to talk about friendship.
Fuck him.
Like, if you're not fucking them, are they even your friend?
Exactly. Well, people always say friends with benefits, and obviously if there's no benefits attached, they're not your friend.
Right.
Friendship is a beneficial relationship, and so without that part, you're not there.
Right. Otherwise, it's just...
Yeah.
Like-
Associates. That's it. That's all you can be.
I have an association with this person.
That's right. Until you have gained some benefit, it's an association, yep.
Yeah, very much. All right. I'm glad to see we're in agreement, okay? And
All
don't
right,
take
well,
our
that
words
was-
for it.
This
'cause
is
just our...
Strange ideas.
Alrighty. Well, so tell me a little bit, like, how do you compare, like, I guess really I'm talking about, like, the value of friendship, because I feel like a lot of people, like, undervalue friendship. Like, growing up, like, I always heard, like, oh, yeah, friends are important, but, like, when you grow up, they don't really matter. Or, like, yeah, friends are nice until you, like, meet the right person, and then...
Yeah, no, I hate those ideas. I think friends should always matter and should always be a part of your life. I think once you throw away all your friends for someone or something, you're failing because, like, literally, we're social creatures. Oh, dude, I love it. We're social creatures, and we have to keep it that way. And just disregarding all your relationships for one person or thing again, I just think is super unhealthy.
Right. Okay, so first of all, I need to tell everybody that I'm actually holding my pop filter right in front of my mic because I don't have a good place to put it. So I'm like, you know how, like, people have, like, what is it called? Like,
Are they called monikers?
Yeah, monocle, like the single eyeglass.
The singular eyeglass.
Where you kind of just hold it up over your eye. Like, that's kind of what I'm doing with my
it's not
pop
gonna be
filter.
moniker, and then people are gonna, like, think we're...
It's monocle, I believe.
Dude, even if it's not that, I'm literally just thinking,
Just like
it's not that, and we're gonna sound the dumbest.
Like, if there's a comment section, there's like,
post it.
Fucking
Post the fucking
unsubscribe, unsubscribe,
unsubscribed. Hated it.
demonetize.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyways, so that's classy as fuck that I'm holding this like this. But back to topic. Yeah, I totally agree. I really do see it, and this is going to be harsh, and I don't mean it to be like this harsh, but I really see it as like a lot of people just because they're like sexually attracted enough to fuck someone, like suddenly they're like way more important than everyone else in their lives.
Oh yeah. Well, like, I should stop saying like. Well, it happens so often because a person becomes so important in your life, and the sexual attraction does aid with it. But then what happens sometimes is, it's gonna sound weird, but, well, not really. Everyone's, I think, has experienced this, but then you start to become a package, and the package deal is, oh, we hang out with people together. We hang out with all of our friends together. And that, to me, well, you should do that at times, but I think it is actually a great idea to keep some friends that are separate from your significant other. And that's what me and mine have done. And it's great because then she has someone she can complain to. I have someone I can complain to when we're being dumb, because humanity is full of the stupid. And if you're in a relationship, you're going to see it, you're going to be a part of it, and you're going to do the stupid. But yeah, just to go back, and their importance has not faded. Like, sometimes I'll just tell my girlfriend, hey, I want to hang out with other people right now. And she's cool with it, and it goes back to her as well. Sometimes she wants to hang out with other people, and I think that's fantastic. You don't always have to be with each other, and it's very good to have other outlets too, because let's say you're having trouble with the other person, and if you have no one else to go to, that seems very bad. It seems like almost like too much of a dependent relationship, and that's why friends should never lose it. Should never lose, like, that focus.
Right. Yeah, it definitely feels like in our society, people often think of like making friendships while in a relationship kind of like a zero-sum game. Like, if I'm going to spend a lot of time with my friends, then that has to take away from our relationship in some way. Like maybe you don't care for them as much, or they're not as important. When I think, like, you should be able to hold many people very important, and it doesn't have to take away from it.
Oh yeah, well, it's the same thing with an object. If I find an object important, it's like we'll just go down that route. Like that object, object. I don't have to spend every second of the day with it to let it know it's valuable. To let it know it's valuable. I will spend that time when it is needed, and it will be valuable time. But again, that never detracted anything from its value. Just as the same thing with your significant other. No value was detracted. All that happened was that you spent a little bit of time doing other things, and it's very healthy too, because you have other things you can experience with other people, because you and your partner are not going to like to do the same things all the time. One of those is anime. I enjoy anime because I'm a fucking weeb and I'm terrible at life. And guess what? That's fine. My girlfriend does not care for that shit. Guess what? That is fine too. And who can I watch it with? Well, I can either watch it by myself or I can watch it with friends that do enjoy it. And now I have an activity that I can enjoy and I do it with other people, and I can bolster those relationships. But again, that never detracts away anything from the other person. They can still gain just as much as you do by you just telling them what happened or what occurred, or even not. Like, it just is so interesting to me how we throw away friendships so quickly when it's not even needed to happen. And granted, I'm kind of hypocritical to say this because I'm a very harsh person when it comes to friends / myself, because I get a little too judgmental at times, which I recognize, and that's something I have to work on. But there are times where I will sometimes throw people away that should not have been thrown away, but then I'll usually apologize and we'll usually get back together. And when I say throw away, it's not like discarding. It's more they've done something that I think is messed up. And sometimes I confront them, sometimes I don't, and I just leave them in the shadow. And that's on me. But again, it's all part of that metagaming life. You're going to mess up, and, I mess up, and I actually apologize to people. Like, I've apologized to my friends before, said, yo, I fucked up.
Yep, because we all fuck up. That's the point of it.
And we all
fuck.
And we all fuck, exactly.
Yeah. Whether it's with ourselves or with others.
Though, there's like incels, and I think I don't think they do fuck, but I don't know.
Wait. They say they don't fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
But we all know they kinky.
Dude, yeah.
Like
they kinky.
I'm on record saying all incels are kinky.
Kinky.
You can quote me on that. Yeah, hitting that point of just like that it can be beneficial. Like, one thing that I feel like is abundantly clear, but we kind of ignore when it comes to the dating scene. But like, if you spend like a ton of time with a friend, like, you kind of experience burnout where like it just becomes dull, less interesting. Like, you don't have as much to talk about. And so I feel like, keeping friendships in the mix while you're, with your significant other is a very important part of like getting some time away so that like you can appreciate that time when you're together. Like, it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to get away from you. But no, I'm just going out and getting diverse experiences.
Oh, yeah. And having a break from anybody is a great idea. Mm-hmm. Because being too involved with anyone, going with that burnout idea is, it becomes a burnout and frustrating because you get to see not only the great points of them, but you get to experience all their flaws for a long time. And when she leaves avocados and food in my goddamn room, and I have to watch that shit, just thinking, is she gonna eat it? She doesn't eat it for 2 days. I eat it the third day, I'm in trouble. She's like, I was saving that. Not for the third day. Not for the goddamn third day.
Bitch, you have 2 days to eat your goddamn avocado, and then it is done.
Dude, that is the rule. If it's not done within 2 days, I assume you have lost interest, and you need. That's on you. You write me a note.
That's like my rule.
This. She's gonna listen to this. You write me a goddamn note. You put something down. You give me a text, and then I will eat that. Or I will leave it there, but you don't. And so it is left to my discretion. And guess what? Guess what happens when I don't get it? It rots. It literally rots. I have had rotting food there before, waiting for her to get it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to throw this away. But if I ate it before it rotted, she would have been, I was saving that. And I'm like, no, you weren't. You fucking weren't doing it.
No, don't you pull that bullshit on me. You ain't fooling.
This is the
nobody.
revolution. This is my time.
That's like the same rule for me, like with the fridge. If there's something I see in there that like I want to eat, I'll wait like 2 days to see like whoever's this is, like they got 2 days to eat this. Unless it's like a big pan, then of course like it's not going to be eaten in 2 days. But if it's
Dude,
like,
you don't wait 2 days for my lasagna. I forget so you grab that the
Dude,
day
that-
of.
That's
the day
that's
of.
because fucking mom like I had no idea. Like mom's like, oh, do you want lasagna?
The shit, Mom.
Like she like instantly
Fucking
offers
betrays
your food
me.
away. But I guess it's because like there's been a couple times where it's been in there for a while. So now her just default setting is like
yeah.
this shit is going out.
It doesn't even bother me. I just think it's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that 2 day rule, that 2 day rule bothers me because I feel like I've set a good standard and
Yeah.
she's not following, and that's
Like, look,
mess.
I'm trying to respect your wishes, but I have limits. I'm only human.
I am only human.
Because I'm no Superman.
Yeah, dude, that's right. But dude, like, back to friendship stuff. But it's like things like that. Like, you will have those freaking annoyances of other people. And I'm sure they have it of you. Don't think that you're freaking out of this equation. You're fucking annoying too, because we all have stupid shit. And same with them and you. Sometimes you just need a break from each other. You get like that little break, that diversity as we were talking about, which also goes into our boredom video. You get that diversity so you don't get bored of each other too much. And then you come back together a week later or whatever time you guys think is appropriate. And you guys have more things to talk about. You have more things to do. And then it refreshes the whole relationship and conversation.
For sure. Absolutely. And on that note of like, shit, I totally lost my train of thought. Take it, Chris.
Dude,
Save me.
See, we're talking about the 2 day rule right now, and we are so goddamn tired. We are okay. I feel like this is a conversation everyone needs to have with
We're
their
gonna have to have a
significant
separate
other and
podcast.
friends. If you have roommates, you need to have this conversation. How long is something in the fridge until it's everybody's? Because the community cannot wait on this individual and let this thing rot. This food deserves to be eaten. There are people starving in other countries. And if we're letting food rot in our fridge, we're doing something wrong. Like just today, Mom, she just threw out some orange cream milk. I didn't want to partake of anything, but the community should have stepped up. They should have been, like, if I would have known it would have gone bad, I would have stepped up and I would have drank some. But no one informed me. Caden failed. He bought it. He could not drink it all, you know?
Yeah,
that's on him. And
that's embarrassing.
And that's why he's going to hell. You see, atheists don't go to hell. It's people that do this that go to hell.
It's true. This is like I'm on record saying, as an atheist, they will go to hell.
They will go to hell.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You
so
deserve.
that was perfect amount of time. You bought me to remember exactly what I was trying to get on.
Did it.
So what I was talking about is kind of how, like, when it comes to like diverse experiences, I feel like when you have friendships or relationships, you're like. So everybody has like their activity pool that they like to do, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of like think of it as like a Venn diagram. Like when you're with somebody, your activity pool is kind of limited. Like it's only the center part of that Venn diagram.
Yeah, because it's what you both want to be able to do. Because each circle represents an individual, right? And then the middle is what both of you like to do together.
And so I feel like in relationships, and like of course compromise is very important. But one of the vastly important things about getting like occasional time away, like going and doing your own thing, is that you get to kind of experience the rest of the activities you like to do rather than always being limited to like the Venn diagram, like the center point where you like there's the crossover.
Well, yeah, and the more you hang out with
it.
someone, the more you get to see what's in their circle, and then you can add it to the middle.
It's true.
So the Venn diagram is probably a good analogy, and you can add more things outside of it. But yeah, like you can, it grows. I would say it's growing.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's definitely a huge thing to keep in mind. Is like, definitely want to always try to keep expanding those Venn diagrams, like with friends and significant others.
Yeah. Wait. So when we're talking about friends versus significant others, is that kind of what we're doing, or what more? What is there?
Yeah, I guess
are we talking like maybe like the differences between them? Maybe.
No, my biggest focus coming in was just talking about how, like, I think friends and significant others, like, should benefit each other. They shouldn't be like, do I have to choose, like, spending time with my friend or spending time with my significant other? And of course you have to make those choices, but I feel like you shouldn't be like, okay, I can't really hang out with my friends anymore once you start dating someone, which is kind of like the story we get told. Because like, I remember, like, even like our brother-in-law, like I was talking about just like stuff I was doing with my friends. He's like, yeah, I love that you hang out with friends that a lot, but just remember, like, once you meet the right girl, like, they won't really matter anymore. And I was like, bitch, what?
Dude, yeah, no. Literally, my best friend once told me, it's almost baffling he told me this. It's not in a bad way. He was like, Chris, if my girlfriend ever said that she slept with you and you told me that she didn't, I would believe you 100%. And I'm like, dude, it's mutual, dude. I'm like, because we've gained so much trust and respect through each other. It would be so weird for me to throw that away in any way, or even like disregard it, because it's so beautiful what you made with that person. Why would that be a factor just by having something else great going in your life, just because you're doing great in the dating scene? Why would you let that destroy another aspect that was already going well and healthy? That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
You building yourself up in all aspects, becoming that circle of all round healthy is where you want to be. And once you just grow one area and you just cut off the other one, then you're not healthy anymore.
Like based from my basic knowledge of strategic
professional
gameplay,
this is
trying to get the meta game right, like that just like that's one of those things, like, you see that option in the game and you're like, that is horrible. I'm never going to choose that option. It's like, there's no way that fits in the meta.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, let's even just be honest. How many couples have you seen that lack the friendship factor? And usually when I notice it, it's, I wouldn't say obvious, but I would say there seems to be some sort of, should I put melancholy there? It's not like depressing sad. It's more of like, oh, it's maybe you could use someone else to talk to sometimes. Because sometimes you want to talk about something, and that doesn't have to be serious. It can be serious, but it can also just be lighthearted. What if I want to talk to my friend about, what was the last conversation? Oh yeah, one of my last conversations. I want to talk to my friend about Borderlands 3. I don't want to talk to my girlfriend about Borderlands 3. She'll have nothing to say about it. She doesn't care, which is great, because that's not her cup of tea, and that's fine, because I'm a coffee drinker, buck tea. But but in serious, yeah, I want to talk about Borderlands 3. I'm going to go talk to my friends about it. And that is great, as we already said, because that diversity and that ability to be able to express yourself in other ways that you don't have to express yourself in front of a person that isn't going to be able to appreciate it or understand it is great. I just don't see any other reason
bouncing off that. Yeah, I totally see people who are, when they're in like prolonged relationships, when they don't like keep that friend aspect going. I've definitely seen like not that they're like sad or depressed, just like you said, but there's definitely like this longing. Like you can see like they're missing something from like, just like fundamentally they're missing that like diversity in contact. Yeah, and they like crave it. I can see them craving it.
Right. Well, and that's my experience too. I mean, of course we can point to the one couple that's perfect and that doesn't need that factor, but as far as what I've seen, I think it's very healthy to have the factors, because I've too seen and felt the longing, and I think friends are great. I'm just baffled when people say stuff like that, because then I just assume that they were just unable to keep friends, and that just seems to be on the onus of the person. But that might be a little harsh. But yeah, let's talk about this though. Can a friend ever become a significant other? Because that answer is obviously yes, but what are the factors for that? Because that happened to me basically, and I just wanted to hear your opinion. When do you think that threshold is crossed from having a friend to becoming a significant other? And I've wondered about it, not really like hard in my bed, like, fuck, what is that line? But just that now that we're talking about it, I'm like, man,
how does this happen?
How does this really happen? Because for me, it was all of a sudden, it became boom, boom, and like the domino was pushed over, and I was like, shit, fuck. And
God
I'm just wondering,
damn.
have you ever experienced something like that? Because we don't even have to talk about that if you don't want to, but
yeah, no, I've
just
never
that
really
question.
experienced that much. Most of my dating has just been like more so just like with the intention of dating, which I actually don't think is the most effective way. I definitely feel like after doing that for a while, like I feel like the most effective way is definitely from friendship.
Oh yeah,
Where you've already built that bond and it's not necessarily based around sexual attraction. Where I feel like if you just like started getting to know someone with the intention of dating them, it was probably somewhat based around just sexual attraction.
Well, yeah. Well, you can even still be friends with people that you're sexually attracted to. The only problem is when you carry that in an inappropriate way. Because I've been sexually attracted to some of my friends, but in the end, it's not it never comes up, or it's not a big deal because I can carry myself in an appropriate manner at the time. It's the same thing as seeing attractive people on the street or whatever.
Right.
Like you look at them, you're like nice, but then you know what's the best appropriate response, and that's to leave them alone, or maybe say hi if you want to. But I would usually not do that to strangers because they're probably just dealing with their own shit, and you just let them go through the day. But you just deal with it in appropriate ways. And if it ever does cross into that way, you had that already built up profound relationship, or maybe it doesn't even, maybe not profound, but you've already had something built up before, and it can carry on through. Because I've seen so many people just date someone based off of attractiveness, and then you notice that the relationship is a lot more difficult because sex is the primary factor rather than actually being fun. It's
you can see that like when it comes down to their actual interactions, like most of their hobbies just don't line up.
Yeah.
And I feel like that in particular is like one of the saddest things that I see. Is just like I feel bad for them because I'm like, I know that like they're trying to spend a ton of time together because they're dating, but like I can tell that like none of their hobbies line up.
Yeah, and it struggles slightly.
Right. And like I don't know exactly how it happens because I've never had the experience, but like I definitely feel like having a friendship, someone that you just genuinely enjoy being around, develop into a significant other is probably the most ideal situation.
Yeah. Well, and just tying it back, it's already what we've already said. Like when you have hobbies that differ from each other and you want to still be together, that's the best thing about friends. You can then still have your hobbies and still have your relationship and be as happy as possible.
You can definitely still make it work.
Exactly. And the other thing that I find sometimes is spouses / significant others will have you choose them. No, have you choose like them as in their person over your friends sometimes. And while I am in the boat that you should give your significant other special privileges because they are your significant other, but any significant other or person that always expects you to choose them or always expects you to prioritize their needs over your needs / sometimes your friends' needs, I think needs to be examined because there's a level of selfishness to me that can over encompass other people. I don't want to throw anyone on the bus, but I've seen relationships where one demands so much of the other person's time and the other person is too afraid not to give it to them, and they still have friends but they just can't hang out with them or they can't do anything with them, or if they do something then they have to come along, and that to me is it's too dependent. Like you have to have some sort of independence from each other to be able to have that free time. And this may seem like we're hammering that point, but it just is, man, you've got to be able to spend time away from each other to keep your relationship flourishing.
Especially like if someone is like refusing to let somebody else do that. I've seen that, and it always results in like a me versus them like experience where like even though they're dating and they're still like, you know, very like they very much get along, but there's definitely like just this side of just like where they're fighting against each other. If that makes sense. And
that's not a healthy relationship because there's like the conflict is overarching the benefits.
Right.
At least from our perspective, it is. I'm sure that they have their own things, but I would say that is a form of not really like big abuse, but it is a little bit of abuse.
Like micro. It's like microaggressions, but micro abuse.
But micro abuse, exactly. Because you're forcing someone to when I say forcing, you're trying to take away someone's time from them in a way that's not right.
Yeah.
I wish I could be more fluent about it, or at
I
least
feel like
more
the
articulate.
like maybe
but
the correct word would be coercing.
Yeah, you're basically coercing for someone else's time
Because,
unfairly because you're using sex, you're using your relationship as I was gonna say the bait, but it's not the bait. You're using it as a hammer to basically hit them with it. Be like, hey, if you do this, I'm gonna basically give you repercussions in our relationship.
Right.
And that is super
Right. Yeah,
super
I feel
bad.
like that's something to definitely examine in like every relationship, because like there's definitely like once you establish somebody as your significant other, of course you've just like stated like, you know, you're the most important person in my life. So of course you got to give them like special, like
That's
they
what I was
should
gonna say.
get
They
most
the special,
attention.
They get the special privileges
right.
and attention.
They should get the most attention. They should get like you know, your like the ideal time, if that makes sense. But you definitely want to have a conversation about like, but like how much time is it acceptable for like us to spend time with other people? Because there definitely needs to be room for that.
Well, I don't even think you really. I mean, unless it was a problem, then I think you do have to have the conversation. But
Right.
see, me and mine have never had the conversation because we respect each other's boundaries enough to be. When I say, "Hey, I'm gonna go hang out with them," she's happy with it. When she says it, I'm happy with it. I mean, you would usually know the situation. Well,
Yeah.
at least me and her know the situation when it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Like if it's a bad time or if we haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah, I guess it's
and
more
then it's almost natural. Like, oh, I need to spend time with this person. I haven't seen this person in a while, and she is my significant other, or he is, or X. And yeah, but the conversation is definitely not bad though. I just would say
Maybe not
it's a lot
super
easier to
necessary.
probably play it by ear, at least from where I'm coming from. But granted, my experience is not everyone else's, so maybe that is a conversation.
Right. It's probably a more important like just thing to establish if
it
it's
becomes
already,
an issue. Yeah, that makes sense. Which makes sense. If anything becomes an issue, you should discuss
like,
it.
I could see, like, I've definitely been in relationships where I felt like I had to make that clear because, like, I could tell going in that they wanted, like, to be, like, just way more committed, like, just, like, every day we're hanging out. You know, like, you don't really hang out with other people a lot. And I kind of had to have that conversation, like, hey, like, my friends are still, like, really important. So, like, and that's pretty easy. And most people are pretty understanding of that as long as you make it clear that like you're still gonna make plenty of time for them.
No, you can't. And then it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be with you then, because I think that's the pretty obvious answer.
Yeah, because there are like relationships, specifically some you've talked to me about that I'm like, that should be the answer. Like it should be like, well, I mean, if you can't handle that, maybe we shouldn't be here.
Oh yeah. But all right. So now that we talked about that, was there anything else you wanted to bring up about friends, or?
No, not necessarily. I feel like we covered that pretty fast. We just kind of hit the points and then just railed on them for a little while.
Fucking rail. Well,
Just
all right.
Destroyed.
Let me bring up a question then. Have you ever had your friends try to take you away from your significant other?
You know, I don't think I've really dealt with that much.
I've had it happen once.
I have had, like, not necessarily a significant other, but I have had friends, like, get a little upset with how much I was spending with other friends.
That's similar. That is similar.
Yeah, it's a very similar situation. In fact, I think I showed you the text on one of them where they were, like, very upset.
I think we should spend less time together. Yeah, we should spend less time together. And you're like, that's just what I said. And like, not even in a mean way. Like you said, it's super respectful, and just saying how busy you were, and she should know, or he. I don't remember what they were. But.
Yeah, and so like those type of situations like can be very difficult, but I definitely feel like it's important to kind of like stick your ground and like tell them like, yeah, like I understand you want to do this, so I'll try to accommodate that, but here's what, like, this isn't good. Like, this is what I expect. I need to be able to do this.
Yeah, well, what I had was they told me, hey, you told me you were going to come over Thursday, and I was like, yeah, I know, I'm so sorry. Something came up, and it wasn't even about my significant other. It was work related. And they're like, well, you shouldn't spend that much time with your girlfriend. And I was like, whoa. And then I told him, I'm not with my girlfriend, I'm at work. And I freaking Snapchatted him in my uniform, and he's like, and then he brought it up. I still think you spend too much time, and you need to spend more time with me. And then I felt, oh my man, you seem to be having some real issues right now. I'm gonna text you, and we'll figure something out. But it became really intense, and it was super weird. I was not even expecting it at all, but it happened once. And I was gonna bring up one more question. I just forgot what it was because of that story. But okay.
Yeah,
So we're talking about friends. Try to get my memory jogging.
Right.
Talking about friends.
Yeah, usually we roll on topics pretty easily. Yeah. For some reason, it's not popping here.
Well,
I think
it's because I've never really had like this conversation because most of the time I'm pretty introverted, so I don't really have trouble spending time with her and my friends because I'm usually by myself anyways. And if I want to go out, I'm usually the one. Well, usually they ask me, and then I just show up. Mm-hmm. And so I usually am not the one that's actively trying to spend my time. It's usually they ask me, and then I'll be like, you know what, I have time, and then I'll come over and spend it. But it's also because just with work and everything, it's hard to keep it up, and sometimes friends.
Yeah, because
sometimes friends are just not always in there. Yeah, well, we both do pretty much right now. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade my friends for anything. I had such a good question, Danny. What the fuck?
Damn.
What the fuck?
Well, we'll do the magic thing that brought it back. Oh shit, I don't remember what it was.
Dude, the two day refrigeration rule.
The fucking 2-day rule. Like, let's just make this clear. Like, abundantly clear. If your food is out for 2 days in like an area that isn't storage, that is either. Up for grabs.
You know what? Okay.
This up winning.
When it comes to making, this isn't a question. I'm just trying to think of another one. Fuck me. But when it comes to friends, and basically, what happens when you have friends that don't like your other friends, and how do you situate that? That wasn't even my question, but I just fucking domed it.
I've actually dealt with this a lot because I'm kind of an extrovert, right? So I make friends with a lot of different people and a lot of different groups.
Well, this has been an area that I've struggled with. I could say that I've been one of those friends that have told other friends, "Hey, I think this person's fucked up, and if you want to hang out with them, I basically say that's cool, but I can't get over this, and I might look a little down on our relationship if you can't either." And that could be a flaw in me, but I have been that person. This is Chris's faults 101. Hell yeah, praise Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things like that come up. I'm kind of in the position where like I have like multiple friend groups, and like a lot of times they kind of clash. And so in the past, I've always tried to somewhat like find time, try to mesh them, just because it's really hard to hang out with all of the different friend groups. But like that has rarely worked. Like, yeah, people tend to clash, and you just kind of got to accept that if you have different friends. Just like, you can throw out a few options, but like,
well, that's usually how I felt at parties anyways, because when I go to parties, I'm usually really easy to get along with. At least that's what everyone says, and that's just because up face, it's pretty easy to be tolerant. It's once like I start to get to know about you, then that becomes more hard. But that's like pretty much with everyone.
Or in smaller hangouts.
Well, that's my goal. I love smaller hangouts. I think parties for me, they end up just becoming boring because most of the time, like, they just want to drink / smoke, and sure, it's cool, but it gets pretty boring after a while. There's only so much that I feel alcohol and weed / tobacco I feel can really pump up a party.
Right.
And usually it ends with people puking / people, and then who takes care of them? I fucking do. It sucks.
Yeah, I definitely.
But then again, I can't hold my alcohol either. So when we're talking about alcohol, I throw up like after fucking like nothing.
Yeah, I definitely agree though with like parties. I feel like parties are like a tops once a month kind of thing for me. Like, I really prefer small hangouts, like where like the people have enough in common that you can actually like do an activity or have some good conversations.
Yeah.
because like parties just like they can be nice for just kicking back and relaxing occasionally, but like a lot of the time it's just short artificial interactions.
Oh yeah,
and it just doesn't really feel substantive. Like it just doesn't drive me.
well, that's exactly how it is at the party. Like, I cannot fucking play Cards Against Humanity anymore. I mean,
Ooh.
Cards Against Humanity is not a bad game, but when you've explored so much of it,
Yeah,
you expect it to keep happening. There's only so many. I mean, sure, the terrible jokes are funny. The racist, homophobic, all those great named ones, and they can be funny. But I've literally heard them all, and it's so hard for me to get down and just play a game. I feel so bad saying it, but I feel like Cards Against Humanity is one of the worst icebreakers now for me because I've seen it all. I mean, occasionally I'll get like that hefty laugh, be like, "Oh man, I haven't heard that one before," but that's over maybe like an hour to 2 hour time span. Actually, 3 was excessive, but
yeah.
I get completely sick of it. I actually prefer apples to apples over Cards Against Humanity, anyways, because I feel like there's a way more nuance and you can actually like argue about it and it becomes more fun, where you can become more active. But with Cards Against Humanity, it's more of like it's more of which one's more raunchy / disgusting or worse to get the win.
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity and games like that, like they're definitely fun like the first few times, and if played occasionally can be fun, but when overused it just becomes like you just kind of get forced into this position of like, oh, we've already done so much absurd stuff, so what do we try to do? Try to make it more absurd. And then it like instead of like actually trying to be more funny, it's just trying to be more outrageous.
Right. Or that's what some people do at parties is they get more louder. I've had so many people louder. They get louder and louder because they want to get that attention, and the drunken state only exacerbates those problems. It just makes them way worse. And that I can't stand that and that just goes back to my introverted self. When I see people being too extroverted or too loud, I do get annoyed because I'm just like, yo, if this is how you want to act, cool, but please shut the fuck up and do it in the other room or do it with someone else, because I can't enjoy what I'm doing right now, and that can even just be chilling, and it just becomes noise.
Yeah, you start dealing with that attention-seeking behavior right there.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly. You're just like,
and I get it. I have some attention-seeking behavior.
Oh, we all do. Like I mean, because
to.
Attention is kind of one of the main drives of
but
like
there's
humanity,
just some that just take it too far or demand too much.
Right. But you kind of have the limits.
But yeah, how do you feel? Feel like we got it?
Yeah, I feel like we did all right. This definitely isn't our best podcast. I'll have to listen to it, see if we'll even release it.
I actually don't think it was too bad. I think we just had a few stops, but
yeah, but I feel like we
rolled through them. But
It'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll let you guys be the judge, because these are just our strange ideas.